Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to have Chad Williamson, the founder and CEO of Athari Advisors, a premier business advisory firm specializing in mergers, acquisitions, sales, and brokerage services. With a mission to connect business owners ready to sell with qualified buyers, Athari Advisors has been instrumental in facilitating seamless business transactions across the nation. Chad, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you so much, Mark. Super happy to be here. Very excited to connect.
Me too, my friend. I always like to start from the beginning. So, kind of take us back on a journey before you started Athari. What was the motivation, inspiration behind starting the company, and what problems were you looking to solve?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you, I started my first company a little over 20 years ago, 2003, and really took off in 2005. So 20 active years, kind of engaged. It was a business consulting firm where we were helping small, mid-sized businesses, 500,000 to 5 million, grow through customer and client acquisition, business development. Companies would outsource their sales and marketing to our organization, and you begin working agnostically across all different types of businesses and understanding their strengths, their weaknesses, where there are opportunities for growth and scale. And then that led us on to starting our next company, which was a full service marketing agency in 2009, and we've had that running for 16 years. And then we just kind of got on this business building as a marketing organization. That's my background: marketing,
Mm,
advertising, sales, business development. You kind of think about it like a fire hose, right? If you
yeah.
can acquire customers and clients, you can really grow and accelerate any business. So we started going, okay, it's great doing this for third party clients, but how can we start doing it for ourselves? So we looked at channels where we could build businesses or eventually buy businesses that we had the ability to drive our expertise in growth strategy and scaling for our own endeavors. Fast forward now here, 2025, we've got 8 companies that we are 100% owner of, another 4 that are, we are the largest individual shareholder of. And some of those we had to work with business brokers. And we just saw, not to knock this industry that's been around for a while, it just felt like the system was broken. You
Mm,
a lot of business brokers that had worked as executives or senior level individuals in companies and organizations, but just didn't understand the plight, trials, tribulations of building, running businesses, and therefore how to exit a business, scale and sell a business. And so, about a year ago, year and a half now, and we said let's get into this space, right? We already owned a real
yeah.
estate brokerage firm. So we had individuals in there that had experience in business transactions, et cetera, from selling and scaling, and we said let's bring our expertise, the advisory services in, and kind of pair that. And then without getting long-winded, our experience in building companies and our marketing had led us into private equity
Mm,
raises and things. So we understood the private equity market, and being able to find the PE, VC, and family offices that are on a mission to buy quality companies across the
yeah.
country. We just kind of made this like a dating service, right? We want to find great companies and introduce them to great buyers and help facilitate transactions.
I love that. So you put that very succinctly, and when I was doing research, it showed that you guys kind of have three main focuses, and please add or subtract, correct me if I'm wrong. But one is helping companies actually exit. So get ready for exiting, connecting them with a buyer. The second is helping people that are interested in buying. And then the third is really helping businesses expand and grow to the point where they could potentially either exit or maybe the founder can just run it on autopilot. Is that an accurate assessment for the listeners that know nothing about your company? Are those the three main things that you guys focus on?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly it. When you think about this, if you're in business, you're looking to do really one of two things, right? You're either ready to retire and you're thinking about what that's going to look like, if you even have a plan, succession plan or anything, or you want to grow your business. And so when you really stop and take a lens out of the, you know, millions and millions of businesses out there, you're sitting in that camp. Now, it may not mean right now today I've got the capital, the resources, the focus, the drive to accelerate my business, you know, and put it on steroids. But you're always, no one goes into the business and goes, boy, I hope we don't get very many customers today, right?
Yeah.
You want to get more people walking through the door.
For sure.
And we also know, right, tech has really brought in the build or buy mentality, right? For a long time, it was always build it, build it, build it. But that takes a lot of work, intricacy, right? Adaptation, where you may be able to buy a competitor, buy a near adjacent market type of business that
Yep.
where the customers mold nicely into your existing business model and
Yeah.
accelerate a business that way. And so we really said, look, we want to be able to walk in the door in every single business and say, we have a service that can assist you no matter where you are in your pathway and where your trajectory forward is. Could be a gazillion reasons why, you know, the stars don't align and we can't work together. You're too small. You don't have the you know, the time or the manpower yet to really even dedicate to those services. But even that is like, you know who we are, where we are, and how we can help you when you're ready. And so we really thought that was important because we've all seen the statistics, right? 60% of businesses fail within their first year. Of the ones that make it through their first year, 65% of those businesses fail within, you know,
Yeah.
the first 5 years. You know, the percentage of businesses that ever make it over $1 million is just insane. It's less than 1% of women-owned businesses that ever make it to a million plus in gross revenue. And so you're looking at all these headwinds that businesses are facing and going, what can we do to be the, you know, the sail, the rudder, and the wind in the sail to kind of get these businesses moving in the right direction?
For sure. So, do you have a clear ICP of the types of businesses that you want to work with?
You know, we found a lot of success and consistency in healthcare businesses, manufacturing businesses.
Yeah.
These are businesses that are typically well established, have a good base of systems, software support, resources, all of that. And so it's a lot easier to come in there and start, you know, pulling the levers, pushing the buttons, right, to help them scale.
Yep.
Small businesses, obviously, and some of these a little bit markets that have less of a moat, maybe a little more difficult. But what we find is we won't turn someone down, right? You know, we love businesses that are 1 million to $50 million, but we've got clients that come in at the half million point, 250,000, and I never wanted to have an organization that said, "Oh, you're too small for us. We don't want to help you because we can't make enough money." Right?
Yeah.
Because that's really what you're saying. You're saying the transaction, you're so small that even if we do all of this work, the transaction is going to be so small that it's not really worth our time and effort. So, you know, go find someone
Oh,
else.
yeah.
And that's unacceptable to me. So, you know, we'll carve out and find a way to help a business regardless of their size. And, you know, sometimes we've got to adjust our fees. Sometimes we say, listen, honestly, for where you are, what it's going to cost you to use us, it may not be, you know, appropriate right now, but how else might we be able to work together? But we're really agnostic. And something else we found kind of in the broken model of the business brokerage system is, you know, 80+% of these business brokerage firms are franchises, or they're, you know, locally owned, locally run, working in their small trajectory market. And when we think about the buyers, the platform buyers, the VC, family offices, strategic buyers, PE, et cetera, these are individuals that are based all over the country, sometimes around the world, and they're not looking to build or grow in their backyard. So, you
Yeah.
know, I laughed with a private equity firm that's got a $100 million fund. They're looking to acquire about 4 companies this year. And if they want to work with a business brokerage firm and they're looking in the, you know, to buy 10 dental offices in the Midwest and in the Southeast, they would probably have to talk to 20 different brokerage firms to get them to be able to go out there and try to source these businesses. We're a
Yeah.
one-stop shop. We've got 16 business advisors. We'll go out there and blanket the nation, calling on businesses that meet the buy box of our buyer clients and go, let's find you the business that fits your model. And so we're agnostic. You know, we'll work with any industries, but we're starting to see some trends around where we're seeing our greatest success.
Got it. Okay, I see. So the business brokerage aspect of the Athari Advisors, and then there's also the consulting aspect where you help them with the sales marketing, really ramp it up. Do you find that either or is the bulk of the revenue when it comes to your company?
Yeah, definitely the sales side of the transaction. When you've got a great company that's looking to exit and they don't know where to start, I'll
Yeah,
tell you, I say this all the time. Stop 10 people in the street and say, "Hey, do you know any real estate agents?" Right? And they can, my cousin, my friend, my sister, my mom, my neighbor, they can name them off. I said, business or real estate brokerage firms, right? Oh, Colwell, Sotheby's, Remax, Keller Williams, they can name them off. I say, do you know any business brokers? And they
yeah,
go, no. And these are companies, people who have, I ask this to business owners, people who've been in business for 20, 30 years. They don't know a single business broker. They couldn't name a single business brokerage firm. And so I say that to mean the sales side. People have these businesses. We know the baby boomers are exiting in mass right now as they're looking to retire, and they don't even have anyone to call on more than run a search online and pull the first list that comes in on the yellow pages. And so that's where we're seeing the greatest amount of success. The advisory, it's a tedious process, right? You've got to build the trust. You've got to come in and bring solutions. You have to get a team
yeah,
within the organization that's willing to implement those solutions, even when sometimes it hurts, right? No one wants anyone coming in and say your business is broken and we can fix it. Like, wait a minute, I've been running this business for 30 years.
hmm,
But that's where we're seeing a lot of our future growth is coming from, because when we can go in and help a company over a 1 or 2 year period scale, whether they're ready to exit at the period end of that 1 to 2 years, or whether they want to keep this business cash flowing, that individual now turns into a potential buying customer that
yeah,
now they want to grow through acquisition, or they've entrusted us that when they are ready to exit, I don't care if it's 10 years from now, who do you think they're going to call, right? Like they say, Ghostbusters, who are you going to call?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you're gonna call the people who have been there for you, who assisted you and helped you grow and helped you succeed. And so we're
For
really
sure.
putting a lot of resources on that side of the business. But right now we're stacked extremely heavily on the buy and sell side.
Got it. Okay, so with the buy and sale side, do you guys charge upfront for your services before when you're gonna help somebody get acquired or acquire? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's one of the things that we dislike the most about the industry. People are charging engagement fees and service fees and retainer fees. No, we come in the door and my marketing organization is performance marketing. We don't get paid to run ads for you or to build your social media out. We get paid for bringing clients in the door that stick, that become customers, paying customers. And so we run on an acquisition basis,
Got it.
and so we brought that same model of the business brokerage firm of, we're not charging you anything up front. We're willing to put the blood, sweat, and the tears in to succeed. And I'll tell you something else. We'd find brokers that would come in and say, hey, we'll help you sell your business. And they'd tie business owners into this 12-month contract. And then they just kind of like listing a house. Well, I'm going to put it out there. If someone finds it, great, I get
Yeah,
paid.
yeah.
But
It's
they're
on
not
Biz Buy Sell, it's on Crexy, whatever. Yeah,
there
yeah.
and hoping people find it and we can get a transaction to come
Yeah.
through. And if that doesn't happen, this business was tied up, not just there, that they couldn't find anyone else, but there's still conversations that are happening and you're having to get all this information and it's distracting from the business. And a lot of these businesses never close. And so we put in a program that says, look, if your business is under 3 months, we just want 90 days exclusive. Give
Got it.
me 90 days to go out there and show you what we can do. Now, here's the
And
reality.
you only get paid if there's a successful transaction, essentially.
Only and not just a successful transaction, but at the price point that seller is saying they want to exit. Don't tell
Wow.
me you're going to sell your business for $4 million and I bring you a $3 million deal and then get mad at you when you don't take it, right? So it's my job to bring in the buyers that are going to give you the exit transaction you need at the price that you need it at. And
Mhm.
so that's just made a real difference for individuals that don't know us to go, you know what? It can't hurt. Now listen, caveat to that, Mark, we're not selling businesses in 90 days, right? What we're saying is in 90 days, we're going to bring qualified buyers that have the ability with proof of funds that are interested in buying your business, right, to the
Mm.
table. Now,
Yeah,
we may not get an offer in that 90 days, but I've yet to have a client that says, I'm sorry, you didn't bring me we didn't close, or you didn't bring me a contract in 90 days, we're canceling. So the contract will usually roll over, but it
for
gives someone the comfort of going, let's try these guys out and see what they can do. And what they find is, even though they may not have hired us for our advisory services, we're now peering behind the curtain and seeing the business, and we're giving them a lot of that same advisory client feedback on things they need to be looking at, what they need to be giving focus to, the things they can be currently adjusting that are going to help them be successful, because you've still got to keep this business growing for the 3,
sure.
6, 9, 12 months it's going to take
Yeah,
you to close. If not, you're making my job hard, right?
for sure.
So
I'm
that's
curious.
how we operate.
I love that. I'm very curious. Have you thought about um and the reason I say this is because we've actually worked with a company like yours in the past. Have you thought about focusing on the consulting side, the advisory side, and really scaling that part out? Because, and I'm only saying this from a predictable revenue perspective, because we all know wrenches get thrown in deals all the time. You never know if it's gonna really pan out the way that you want it to. Of course, you can have risk factors in place that mitigate that. But have you thought about really focusing on that piece of it to just get more predictable revenue in through the door as you get more transactions on the buy and sell side?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually looking to scale that side of the business and bringing in a full advisory team from the sales side to go out there and really aggressively market the business. We recently partnered with a marketing firm that specialized in the business brokering side, and we said, "Look, great, keep doing what you're doing for generating leads for people to sell. We've kind of got that handled, but we'd love for you to carve out. You're doing all this outreach anyway, only asking if people want to sell their businesses. Throw in the advisory services, if someone's looking for that, and we'll take all of those leads, we'll bring those in house, and obviously we'll take care of some back end revenue share in addition to the revenue that we pay that firm. So it is an area of the business that we want to scale. But kind of like I was saying, with the baby boomer, they're saying $13 trillion is going to change hands from the baby boomers to the next generations as
Yeah,
they're retiring, exiting, God forbid, passing away. It happens, and it's right now that rain is just pouring, and we want to make sure we have our cup out there in that space while we build that steady kind of trajectory and ongoing revenue. But it's
yeah,
actually where I probably have the most expertise. We brought in a designated principal broker that has 38 years of experience. I like to say he's forgotten more about selling businesses than we'll ever know. So we've got that piece intact around. We bring in these great quality businesses that are looking to exit, and we're able to put a real good package together to get them out the door and make them attractive to buyers. On the business advisory side, I've probably forgotten more than most people will ever know, in that small, lower tertiary market of that, 1 million to 15, 20 million range. We know that we can come in there and provide a lot of quality, a lot of value in a short amount of time. This isn't, you're going to walk away with an SOP that tells you how to put all this stuff in place and good luck. This is us rolling up our sleeves as if we were a partner, an equity partner in this company. And what would we look for? What would we expect? And what would we do to take this
yeah,
business to the next level and, increase revenue in the 2, 3, 4x range.
yeah.
So it is an area that we really want to expound on significantly.
For sure. And I could see that just having the buy and sell side will dramatically, or sorry, focusing on scaling up the advisory side will dramatically explode the buy and sell side as the years go on, as companies and whatnot implement the solutions that you're helping them with to scale even further. I'm curious from that perspective of scaling up the advisory side, what do you feel like is the biggest challenge you're facing right now as the founder?
Yeah, what we find is everyone wants to grow. Everyone's not ready to make the commitment from the time, the financial resources that are going to be required in order to scale your business. If it was easy, you probably would have already done it. If it was seamless, you would have already done it. And if it was inexpensive, you probably would have already done it. Now, that doesn't mean we're coming in with these extremely expensive solutions. We come and we bring a lot of kind of steps into the process. What can we do in the short term, in the midterm, in the long term to create that scale and to make sure it's long-term and sustainable, not just this, let's go out there and throw $100,000 into a media spin to bring in clients from. That may not be sustainable in the long term, although that may be part of the strategy, not the $100,000 part, but enhancing your digital presence, your social and search marketing, etc.
Yep.
So it's finding the business owner that's committed. It's the guy who stood up and says, I have to do something. I'm ready. What are my options? Versus sometimes I feel like we're trying to sell someone on how we can help you. And we work very similarly in a performance basis. There often is a little bit of an engagement fee
Yeah.
for the initial work that we're doing. It's not pay us to show up. It's, we've got to come in and do a deep dive due diligence review, 360.
Yeah.
We need to understand where the bugs and the kinks and the holes are that we can fix. And whether you chose to implement any of those things, right, there's a real cost associated with that kind of road mapping.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we're not saying, pay us $50,000, and the engagement
I
fee
get
can
what
be
you mean.
anywhere from 7,500 to 25,000 for us to come in and at least do that first level review
Yeah.
where we give you the marching orders of here's what you need to do and here's how we can help you do it. Now, if you want to just take that and say, hey, great, we'll implement this ourselves, thank you for that, that's no problem, right? The next level of service is here's how we would actually come in and help you implement all of the things that we're showing you, and then give you the system, software, support, resources necessary to do it.
Got it. So it sounds like the biggest challenge is just getting the right qualified leads that are ready to make some sort of change. How do you generate leads right now for the advisory side?
Yeah, so we're doing webinars. We do a lot of email marketing. That's really been the largest area of our success. Our business advisors are out there, kind of knocking on doors, and right now, where we want that to be a much stronger portion of our client acquisition strategy. Right now, it's a lot more brand building, letting people know who we are, where we are, what we do, and how we do it. And although we're getting revenue from that area, we're seeing much more of our revenue coming from our direct marketing to prospective buyers. And
Email,
so, yeah,
email essentially.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Email, search, and social,
Got
and then obviously some of the webinars that we host as well will get business owners coming through that pathway.
got it. What do you is it a sales process thing when it comes to getting more qualified people, or is it a front end of the funnel thing? What do you think it is?
Front end of the funnel. Yeah, we've got a great sales organization
Awesome.
where we can have high quality calls with individuals, show them the value very very quickly. A lot of times our potential clients are really really impressed. I hear all the time like, wait, are you from our industry or did you work in this space? And it's like,
Yeah.
no, we've been in business and across businesses in so many areas ubiquitously that we have those insights around how all of these different businesses work. And so once we've got the engagement, our close rates are really really good.
Awesome.
It's just getting that front of the funnel really
Yeah.
growing the way we want it to.
When you think of your vision over the next, let's say, 12 months, what are your top priorities?
Same thing I tell them, our clients: growth, growth, growth. We did around $20 million in new business listings in the first quarter. We're on track to probably do the same again this month. And when you think about commissions ranging on average 7%, let's say, you're seeing that a business in its first year and a half, by the close of this year, could have $2 to $4 million, a gross profit from the work that we're doing on the sales side, right? And we're just getting started. We expect to see that double, potentially even triple next year. And
Awesome.
so, the real focus is just making sure that we've got the right systems, process, automation. How are we now embedding AI, right? We offer this to our clients. How are we embedding kind of drinking our own Kool-Aid? How are we doing
Yeah.
the exact same solutions that we're expecting our clients to implement to create success, so that we can create that real streamlined system that makes everything operate efficiently. But definitely the growth. We want to grow explosively. We're going to be bringing on another round of advisors, up to 50 advisors across the nation, because our lead flow is increasing significantly. We want
On the buy
more
and sell side, right?
on the buy sell side. That's correct. And so how do we then train those individuals to be able to at least handle the initial introductory first level sale on the advisory side before bringing in our actual business advisors that do a
Yeah.
lot of the back end operational stuff.
Awesome. What's one tip you would give to new entrepreneurs starting in 2025?
Gosh, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Amar, I coach track. I volunteered this year. I used to coach, I've got two sons, 12, 16 and 22. And I started coaching them both when they were 5, baseball, football, and track. And then when they got into high school, I stopped coaching when we moved to Charlotte. And I just got back into it and I love it. It gives me a way I don't really have a lot of hobbies. As you probably know, as business owners, our hobbies are our business or our businesses, right? You don't have as much time for golf and pickleball and all of that. And I needed something that forced me to just shut down the laptop and go disconnect. And one of my runners came and she said, I was finishing, coming around, my last lap, and I didn't think I was going to make it. I was dying. And I just remember hearing you say, it's supposed to hurt. And I just like, oh yeah, it is supposed to hurt. And
Yeah.
that gave her the wind to dig in. Well, that's what I'd say to entrepreneurs. They make it look so sexy online now, right? They make it look so sexy on Shark Tank, and everybody's got a business idea, and investors are going to throw money at you, and that's not the reality. Especially as minority-funded businesses, we see that we get less than 1% of venture capital and private equity funding. So you've got to go into this thing almost thinking, if I can't fund it, it's not going to get done, right? And so if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and it's going to hurt. Now, and if you're willing to take that in and understand that and do the work and endure the pain and the long nights and the stress and the financial strain, right? Then maybe this is for you. But if anything of that scares you, you may want to hold off before you pull the trigger.
I love that. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
You can find us at AthariAdvisors.com. That's ATHARI advisors.com. Reach me directly. I never ever have any qualms about taking direct calls. 404-862-4452. I want to talk to people. We're building a mastermind group for entrepreneurs that want to get into business. We're not charging anything from it. We want to get more, success driven, entrepreneurial minded operators in our network, because you never know how we can assist each other in their success. And, my direct email is chad@athariadvisors.com. Would love to hear from people if they've got ideas, if they've got thoughts, businesses they're trying to grow. We have an investment firm. We do invest in seed rounds for companies that are just getting started. We have an incubator and accelerator for helping companies grow. We really are working to be a virtually integrated end-to-end organization so that we can help everyone, no matter where they are in their journey on the business growth cycle.
Perfect. Chad, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. For our listeners, if you're inspired, don't forget to subscribe on all your favorite platforms. And if you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.